it's not the Africa that the media sort of shows you. And so you have this idea in your head that you're going to see a certain thing, experience a certain cliche experience, but when you get there, if you let it, the place and the people kind of filter into every part of you.
It's hard to think back as to how my life used to be before Africa.
Recognising what we've got and how fortunate we are here, you know that on one level, but actually being in Africa and seeing what people have there compared to what we have here, and how lucky we are to have family supports, medical care, when over there often people don't have the basics.
It just sort of filters into the way that you do things, like you no longer have that first world problem mentality, you know, and things aren't as dramatic as they once seemed before, and you can handle things a lot differently. I remember being totally shamed by the outlook and the community that the people in Burundi had, because it's something I've never experienced. I sort of grew up very alone, I suppose, and it was me versus the world. But in Africa, it's sort of the community connecting with one another and doing life together in a way that is wonderful. And if you take that into your life down here, it changes the way you interact with people, it changes the way that you see them, and it opens your eyes to see the goodness in everyone that you meet, and to look at things differently and understand that you can change things. Yeah, so I suppose it was empowering in that way. I remember one moment standing on a hill at one of the food drives we were doing, and I saw a little boy, and he was standing with a sibling baby on his back, and he was waiting in this massive line to come and get the food that we had for them. And he had an arm missing, and his face was so hopeful and so joyous. He was laughing, he was playing, and he was caring for his sibling. And I was really pissed off. I was looking at him and saying, that is just not fair. He's in Africa, he's in one of the poorest countries in the world. He's got all this weight of responsibility literally on his back, and he's got no arm. And it was like, for me, the straw that broke the camel's back, but for him, he was standing there and he was so happy. And he had more joy, I think, than I'd ever experienced in my 30 odd years, and that utterly shamed me.
On my first trip to Africa, I went with my eldest daughter, Michaela. When we got back, I can remember her saying to me, you know, Dad, I want to do something for these young kids. As I've grown up on a dairy farm, and Dad still had a few acres and that and wanted something to do. We said, well, we can grow a few cows if we need to. And that we have to feed the cows every day, make sure that they're okay and everything else. And every time we're doing that, it's reminding us of this little spot on the other side of the world where there's these kids and mothers in homes that need our support.
Over there, it's a simple existence, but they're so happy, and it's genuine and it's real. And I think that's what really stuck with me when I came back, and making sure that I didn't forget that feeling of seeing that and try to bring it into my own life.
I think it was kind of a slow pace over there, and they're just so relaxed and so happy to just take things as it comes. And yeah, so that really hit me, that I need to slow down and just be listening to what it is that God wants me to do.
It was after we left Chibitoke, and it was, I think, our last night in Buj, and we went out with Freddie and some of the other volunteers and the people that live there. And Freddie stood up and he thanked us for our support and our time. Yeah, and I just remember we were around that table having something to eat together, and how humbling it was that they were grateful for what we'd done, which was so little compared to what they'd done for us.
It's still to this day affecting decisions that I make, and choices and directions that I take in my life. And when things get very dark for me, with my trauma background, I have experiences in Africa that push me in a good direction. I actually had a plan to kill myself. I'd totally given up on life, and that's happened to me before, but I was in a place where it was the end, and I'd just given up. And somebody told me about Africa, and I just recently saw a documentary on the Congo, and I thought, well, I'll just go, you know, before I go, I'll go and see what Africa's about, because I'd sort of was really touched by what happened to the child soldiers in the Congo and just the struggles that people have there. And I thought, well, maybe I can go and have an affinity because of my trauma background. And I went and it changed my life, and it did save me. I don't mind saying that. It's something that I brought back, and the plan went away. I started to look at life in a new direction, and everything changed. It changed my career. It led me to study something that I never would have considered before. It changed my outlook.
Burundi is amazing. When you go there, it will capture your heart forever. You should definitely take the opportunity that you're given to go to Burundi and meet these amazing people over there. Change the rest of your life.